Welcome back to another episode of Challenge Accepted with Jonah C, the space where we don't just talk about elevation, we live it, breathe it, and choose it daily. This one right here, it's not just an episode, it's a decision. Today, I'm asking you to step into a moment that you've probably experienced 100 times without even thinking about it. Picture it. It's after dinner. Someone pulls out the wishbone. Two people grab it. You pull it. It snaps. And one side is bigger than the other. One person wins, right? Or do they? Today's episode is called Breaking the Wishbone. Which side will you choose? But this isn't about luck. This is about what you do with whatever side life hands you. Whether you got the short end of the stick or the bigger half of the wishbone, none of it matters unless you decide to turn your peace into purpose. So let's go deep, let's make this personal, and let's redefine what it really means to make a wish and make it count. Are you ready? I am. I'm Jonah. I'm your person. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the show, and a big welcome to those who have joined for the first time, and a great big welcome to those who keep coming back for more. Let's start with where this all began. The wishbone tradition has ancient roots, so this isn't some made-up dinner table ritual. It goes back to the Etruscans, a people who believed that birds could predict the future. They saw birds as sacred messengers, divine beings that bridge the gap between the heavens and the earth. So when a bird, especially a chicken, was sacrificed, they didn't just eat and move on. They kept the furcula, or the wishbone. They'd let it dry out and stroke it for good luck, hoping to absorb its spiritual power. Later, the Romans added a competitive twist. Two people would pull it apart, and whoever got the bigger piece, they were said to have their wish granted. Fast forward to today, and that simple tradition has become part of dinner tables and family gatherings around the world. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Getting the bigger piece doesn't guarantee anything. A wish without movement is just a hope. And in this case, hope is not a strategy. A dream without discipline is just a fantasy. I remember when I was a young boy and my brother and I would break the wishbone together. I used to think back then, how the heck does he always get the bigger end of the wishbone? Although I saw where he put his thumb, which was at the very top of the wishbone, I didn't understand, but by doing so and applying a little bit of heavy pressure, that he would always get the bigger side of the wishbone. Of course, years later, I understood that he was cheating. So there's that. But the bigger point for me was, what the hell did he wish for? I never saw anything come out of it. A new toy, a new jacket, new shoes, Hot Wheels, whatever it was, I never saw anything. I always thought to myself, what a waste. I always vowed that if I ever got the bigger end of the wishbone, I would not only make a wish, but I would make it happen. Little did I know that it really never mattered what end of the wishbone my brother or I got. We're jumping right into challenges now. Challenge number 1. Take a moment today and ask yourself, what's the biggest wish I've made in the past year, whether it's in 2025 or 2024? Now ask, what real steps have I taken toward it? If the answer is not many, today is your reset button. Let's be real. A lot of people get the bigger piece. They get the opportunity. the money, the connection, the head start, heck, the green light, if you will. And still, they do nothing. Why? Because they mistake advantage for action. They think the wish will work for them instead of through them. You see it all the time. People born into privilege, born with talent or good timing, who never tap into their full potential. Why? Because the illusion of having the bigger piece convinces them they don't have to move. But gifts that aren't activated go stale. Talent that isn't trained weakens. Even blessings can rot when left unused. I'll share an embarrassing piece. About 5 years ago, 5 years ago, I got an Amex gift card. It was for $25, but $25 is $25. I never activated it, and it expired. You would have thought I learned from that. No, I got another Amex gift card, let's call it a year and a half ago, and I didn't activate it until just a couple of months ago. And I could have used that money on something that I needed. But the point being is just because life handed you the long end of the bone doesn't mean you've made it. That was just the start line. The hustle and the purpose, that's on you. So let's get to it. Challenge number 2. Think of one area in your life where you've been handed a big piece, quote unquote. Maybe you had a great mentor, a natural skill, or a lucky break. Write it down, then write one action you'll take this week to honor that gift, to use it, not lose it. Now, let's talk about the other side, the short end, the one no one wants. The piece that makes people sigh and say, of course, just my luck. Listen, if you've ever felt like you've been dealt a bad hand, maybe you didn't have the support growing up. Maybe you've faced discrimination. Maybe your timing always felt off. I see you. I hear you. But here's the game changer. The short end creates fuel if that's what you choose, with the key word being choose. It's your power to choose. And you can choose not to see it that way or stay stagnant, but that's still a choice. Underdogs are the ones who rewrite history. They're the ones who say, I didn't have the luxury of waiting, so I moved anyway. The short end is the fire that says, if nobody's going to hand it to me, I'll build it from scratch. And when they rise, it's unstoppable because it wasn't handed to them. It was earned. And instead of giving in and using their power to stop, they say, challenge accepted. I'm going to make this happen. So let's get to it. Challenge number 3. Name one thing you've told yourself was a disadvantage. Now flip it. How can you turn that lack into leverage? That weakness into wisdom? Let me tell you something that most people never understand. Power is not something you have. It's something you practice. Power isn't about status or luck. It's about discipline. It's about choices. It's about consistency. And you can be holding all the power in the world, but if you don't use it, it means absolutely nothing. Think about a battery, full of energy, but if it's not connected to anything, it powers nothing. It just sits. Don't be a human battery that never plugs into purpose. And we're rip-roaring through this process. So here's challenge number 4. Write down 3 ways you've been passive with your power. Then write down 3 small ways to flip that switch this week. Not next week, not a month from now, this week. Prove it to yourself. Prove that you can choose and decide how to use your power. Could be a conversation, a project, a new routine. Power is using it or losing it. Are you still with me? Okay, let's get to it. People say, I'm just waiting to feel ready. Let me tell you, readiness is a lie. Motivation is a fair-weathered friend. It's there one day, gone the next. But momentum, that's different. It sticks. You start small. You show up tired. You do it anyway. And soon, you're building something that moves you even when you don't feel like it. Momentum is motivation's older, wiser sibling. So whether you feel inspired or not, start. Move. Break the inertia. Don't let this overwhelm you, but it's time to do challenge number 5. Choose one habit you've wanted to build. Keep it small. A 5-minute daily stretch, a journal entry, a check-in call. Do it every day for the next 7 days and watch what happens. Here's a new perspective. Why are we always waiting for someone else to hand us the wishbone? What if you broke your own? You don't need permission to start. You don't need a green light to act. You can give yourself the wish today. You can create your own momentum. And this is your invitation to stop waiting for the bone to come to you and go get it. Break it, claim it, and move. Before I give you your next challenge, I want to share with you a personal and maybe funny story. So the whole reason for the concept of breaking the wishbone, which side will you choose? I started writing a book, quite a long time ago. But let's just round it down to 10 years ago. And the concept is what I'm describing to you now. As a matter of fact, it's taken me a while to get through a lot of the pages and writing that. And I was talking to a dear friend and I said, I want to get the concept of breaking the wishbone out, similar to higher level thinking. And my friend said, do a podcast. Well, that's what this show is all about. This is where the show actually started. Breaking the wishbone, which side will you choose? Because really it is about choice, but that's not the point. The point is, since I started writing the book, again, let's call it 10 years ago, I've been collecting wishbones. And not for the sake of just collecting them. I just knew that one day I might use them in taking a photo for the book cover or something like that. Well, along the way, I also bought fake ones. And knowing that I was writing this show and was going to do reels and short stories and stuff like that, I thought I can finally use that Ziploc full of wishbones. And I painted them gold and silver and that sort of thing. Well, I spent the whole weekend looking for these wishbones. And I went out shopping for them because I finally gave up looking for them. They're around here somewhere. And I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any wishbones. And I thought to myself, well, why can't I just draw one and illustrate breaking one? Well, I actually did find one. It was a dog toy, and I still might put that on a reel or a short story. But the point is, in this long story, is I don't need a chicken to get a wishbone. I don't need to go buy a wishbone. I don't need to find that bag full of bones. I can create it myself. So once again, break it, claim it, and move. And here's your next challenge. Write yourself a permission slip. Literally. I give myself permission to blank. You fill it in, sign it, tape it somewhere you'll see it every day, and change your mentality to challenge accepted. I will do this, and see what happens. You want to know what really separates the ones who build from the ones who dream? Decisions. The power to decide. Not circumstances, not income, not background. Just pure decisions. decisions that nobody can take away from you, the power to choose that nobody can take away from you. Every time you choose to show up, which happens to be the next show, every time you choose to do the hard thing, you build character, you build clarity, you build credibility with yourself. Circumstance is what happens to you. Decision is what happens through you. And in keeping with our challenge accepted mindset, here's challenge number 7. Think of one decision you've been avoiding. Today, decide. Don't wait. Don't overthink it. Just move. Momentum favors the decisive. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be folding your laundry that's been sitting on your bed for a week. It could be washing the little bit of dishes that are sitting on top of the countertop. It could be anything. Just practice. Just put into place your decision-making power. As you can tell, look, this isn't just about your bone. This is about the person watching you, listening to you, being inspired by you. There's someone in this world, in Ghana, in Ireland, in Australia, in Mexico, who feels just like you do. And when you rise, they feel seen. Your momentum becomes a mirror for someone else. We are a global community of challenges, of movers, of short end survivors, and big peace builders. And when you start pulling in the same direction, we create change. Let's do this. Challenge number 8. Reach out to someone this week who's outside of your normal cycle, maybe a different city, different country, different background. Share part of your story and then ask for theirs. Connect. I know it might be awkward and random, but awkward and random help fuel momentum. So, challenge accepted? Good. Sometimes things in our lives have to break so we can build better. A friendship ends, a job falls through, a plan doesn't work, and it feels like failure. But what if it's freedom? I'm going to share a little story with you. So I've been in the profession of human resources for quite a long time. And I have had the unfortunate experience of having to terminate people for all sorts of reasons. And in situations where an employee has become complacent or they're not performing up to the minimum standards, we let them go after many warnings, training, coaching, counseling. And because through my experience, I've had people contact me back and said that was the most important thing that could have ever happened to them, because they then felt free to go on to do something that they were really passionate about. I often thought to myself, why do we as humans allow ourselves to get there where somebody else is doing the work for us? And although these separations or terminations were good for those associates, there were many months and sometimes years where they endured not really wanting to be there. So one must use their power to choose to move forward rather than waiting for somebody else to hand them that wishbone. Let it break. Mourn it. Then ask, what is this breaking making space for? Don't cling to dead dreams. Don't tape the wishbone back together. Let it break so something better can breathe. And here we are, challenge number 9 of 10. Name one thing you're holding on to out of fear, not faith. Decide this week to let it go. Burn the bridge if you must, and create space for something alive. And if you remember the episode Alive, always living in victory's edge, that's what this is about. Intention. doing things with purpose, being deliberate about these sorts of things. One more time, name one thing you've been holding on out of fear, not faith, and decide to let it go. And watch what happens. Final question. You're holding your peace now. Big or small, clean or cracked, it's yours. So what will you do with it? Let it sit in your pocket like a memory? Or use it as your reason to move, build, lead, love, or live? The size doesn't matter. The use does. And here's your 10th challenge. Say this out loud right now. This is my piece. I don't care how big or how small it is. I will use it. I will build from it. I will not waste it. Then do one bold thing today that affirms that very commitment. One thing that you might notice about this episode is that it's shorter than some of the rest, because I wanted to drive home the concept that you don't need a very long episode, 30, 40 minutes long. It's whatever you have in front of you. A short episode can be just as valuable as a long one. It's all determined on what you do with it. Breaking the wishbone. Think about this. Which side will you choose? Because you do have choice. And that's it for today's episode, Breaking the Wishbone, which side will you choose? If this episode cracked something open in you, pun intended, share it. Send it to a friend. Post a clip. Let this be the conversation starter for someone else who's been quietly holding their wishbone, wondering what to do with it. Remember, the power was never in the size. It was in the choice. It is the mindset of challenge accepted. You already have your piece. Now go do something with it. Join me next week where we will be talking about showing up. Be on the lookout for reels and promos for that show on TikTok, Snap, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. For now, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back, and have a great week.